Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd. I am your host, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. It is a pleasure to join you this evening. Um, I'm going to continue off where I left the week before, which is who do you look like? Do you look like more your mom, your dad, or do one of your children look like you, or whatever the case is? But of all the books I got on the subject, I've never read a book that kind of goes into what you look like or who you look like or favor. And you always find out when you go to what is called family reunions, graduations, funerals, christenings, boy, you look just like your mother, how your dad doing, or whatever the case is. Or then you may not have none of the traits at all. So I've got a list of people that I didn't read last week, and so we'll see. So if you got any questions about maybe who do you look like or whatever, it'll be a pleasure. But before I get started, let me introduce to you, brought to my sponsors, which is U Juice. It is at Livet Store, LIVETSTORE.com. That's Livet Store. Go to the store, order your juices, and with the summer coming up, it's going to fit just right. Also, Nicholas Brooklyn for over 50 years. Gee, I got him up 70, over 50 years of being in business. They're going to have an ice plunge this particular Sunday at 11 a.m. There is a fee to come to be a part of it. Yes, you will be dipping in ice cold water. I've seen Kafunya and some other people. It's amazing, but they're going to be sponsoring. I'll tell you more about that later. Also, Manifest on Purpose with Miss Kimberly, who has a weekly wisdom as well as a weekly podcast. And also she provides services for those of you who are in business, those of you who are thinking about starting a business. Her consultation, she offered a free consultation. All you got to do is just go to Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com. That's KIMBALEY. For those of you who are thinking about starting a business, have actually started one, she will act as a consultant. And it's just all you got to do is give her a call, also, or contact her, and also and Numerolytics with Queen B of Taylor BTV, a very, very dynamic person. And I thank her very, very much for being a sponsor of the show. Make sure that you reach out to her and support her. Also, last but not least, I don't think there are too many books left for knocking from the inside. And if so, I think that you should grab it while it is. It's also available audio, but it's nothing like having a book in your hand for book readers like for book lovers like myself. It would be good. Now, before I get started, let me tell you about the forecast. I see, every time there's always something. Um, but so far it is, first of all, it is Wednesday. That's correct. The sun is in Taurus. It is not a full moon. That was on Monday. So I should have just said simply moon in Sagittarius, but the full moon was back on Sunday, the day after Mother's Day. It is a 5 universal month. It is a 1 universal week. It is for those that are Leos, Aquarians, Aries, or born on the 1st, the 4th, the 10th, the 13th, 19th, 22nd, 28th, or 31st of the month. Well, it is should be a pretty good day for you. All right. Actually, it should be a pretty good day for everybody. All depends on one's attitudes and things of that nature. Um, Also, I'm going to mention this to you too, because I am going to be having right now, all my courses are on sale. Um, it's going to be from this week to next week. As you see, they're all $9.99 or $10 a piece. So for less than $35, I guess they're going to include tax. You can own all 3 of the courses. As you see, they're all bestsellers too. The first one is actually, I started from Learn from Lloyd, How to Read a Person Like the Book. That was my premier series that started it off. Then the next one was Learn from Lloyd, The Next Step in Numerology. And then finally, the one that Jazz Aphrodite and myself put together, learn from Lloyd the do's and don'ts. So if you want to be good at this, there are things you need to do and there are things you should not do, if that makes sense. All right. So I'll be talking about this a little bit more too. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Now, who do you look like? Do you look like your mom? Do you look like your dad, or whatever the case is? And so just give me some, if you give me some birthdays, I'll be able to tell you. Also, let's see. One of them is Dr. Cynthia. And she says, what if she looks like her father when she was younger and her mother as she's gotten older? Well, first of all, Cynthia, given her birthday, she did put it up on the screen, and she is born on the 12th of January. Now, here's how I figure it out. See, I'm going to share a little secret, at least how I do it. It's not scientific in that way, but numbers are scientific. So I'll say it's the next best thing. Once I know the birthday that you have a set of numbers that follow you according to the month, the day, and the year you're born. Once I know that, naturally you come from a mother, father. That's how you got here last time I checked. And so each of them have their birthdays too. So what numbers favor more the mother? What numbers favor more the father? So in the case of Dr. Cynthia, she's born on January the 12th, which means she's a Capricorn 3 person. So what I did is I says, okay, 3, 8, and 6. Those are her numbers, okay? So when I do yours, write your numbers down too. So her mom is October the 2nd. Her numbers are the 2, 7, and 6. Okay, so I see that 6 is one of the common denominators between her and her mom. Then next, her dad is October the 6th. They're both Libras. Both the parents are both Librans. Okay, one is a 2, one is a 6. His numbers, her dad's numbers are the 6, the 3, and the 9. Now, if you notice the numbers I just gave you for Dr. Cynthia, her numbers are the 3, 8, and 6. So that tells me she's got she's got 2 of her father's numbers, which is the 6 and the 3. She's got 1 of the mother's numbers. So she said she looked like her father when she was younger. That makes all the sense in the world to me, because out of 3 numbers, her father got 2 of them. Okay. Her mother only has 1. And she says as she's gotten older, she looks more like her mom. Now, I don't know why that is. I don't have an explanation, but I would say that if she went to family reunions, weddings, funerals, christenings, baby showers, whatever the case may be, where there's a gathering of the family members, they would say, girl, you remind me so much of your dad. How your dad doing? So that's what I see. So the next is I had was Trisha. Now, Trisha is born on April the 2nd. So what are her numbers? See, that's the thing I established first. What are her numbers, which is the 2, the 7, and the 6? Okay, when you take my class, I'll show you how I get these numbers. All right. Also, if you buy my book, Numbers in You, the best-selling book on Amazon, Numbers in You, a numerology guide for everyday living, I list all the numbers, but I don't tell you how I arrive at them, but they're there. So in Trisha's case, her mother is April the 3rd. So that was a birthday gift to her mom. Her mother's numbers are the 3, 9, and 6. Her dad is born on the 28th. His numbers are the 1, 4, and 5. So when I look at Trisha's numbers, which is the 2, the 7, and the 6, she's got at least one of her mother's numbers and none of her father's numbers. Now, it don't mean that's not her dad. See, people kind of go off the deep end sometime with this. It's not that. It's just that the fact that she might slightly favor more her mother because she's got one of her mother's numbers and none of her father's. Now, there are cases where a person don't look like either the mother or the father. But normally, 9 times out of 10 on a scale, if I can get the birthday of one of the parents or both of them, that gives me an idea of what I'm looking at. All righty. So, and then there is Quintella. Okay, where is she? Okay, Quintella. She is also one of our regulars. How you doing? Now, Quintella is born on January the 31st. So that means her numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. Okay. There's a way I figured it out after decades of doing this. This is how I came up with this. So her mother's numbers are the February the 3rd. So her mother's in Aquarius just like her. So that means her mother's numbers are the 3, 4, and 1. So since Quintella has a 4 and a 1, and her mother has a 4 and a 1, that leans toward it. Her father, though, is January the 13th. Okay, he's a 4. It's just the 31st in reverse. It's just flipped around. His numbers are the 4, 1, and 8. So I would say in this case, since looking at it, she will probably favor both. It's I don't know, for parents, they'll tell you there's times when a child is growing up, they look more like him, they look more like you. Okay. Why that is, I guess we're ever evolving. That's why we don't look the same when we come out the womb. We all like wet and slippery and all cute and all that stuff. And then we grow and we evolve and we change by height and mindset and looks and disposition. So I would say but actually I would slightly favor the father. Why? Because she's born on the 31st and her dad is born on the 13th. So her basic set of numbers are the 4 and the 1. Her dad's numbers are the 4 and the 1. Her mother's numbers are the 3, 4, and 1. So the mother's in the secondary position where the dad is in. Now, this is how my mind works, okay? Now, I don't know, Quintella, whether I'm correct or whatever, but this is how I've come up with it. All righty. And so that's how I look. Okay. So I hope that makes sense, Quintella. Then I got Darius. Now, Darius was born on March the 1st of 85. All right. So that means Darius is a Pisces 1 person. He's born, his numbers are the 1, 4, and 3. Let me explain. If you're born on this planet, you're born on some month, day, and year. And by being born on some month, day, and year, it sets into motion a frequency, a heavenly frequency, a cosmic frequency that you cannot change, you cannot alter. It's here. So when people talk about these angel numbers, I see this and that on the clock on the wall. I got you. I feel you on that. I do too. But what I'm saying is, in this cosmic scheme of things, the month, the day, and the year you're born sets into a motion the numbers that will always follow you directly or indirectly from the womb to the tomb. Okay. And so how that determines, in the case of Darius, his numbers are the 1, 4, and 3 in that order. It's like playing a lottery. 3-digit numbers is played 6 ways. Okay. So there's 6 kind of ways of putting this number if you did that. But if he gets it 1, 4, and 6, he would get the lottery. So now his mother is born on October the 22nd. Her numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. His dad is born on July 31st. His numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. So it's kind of hard. I would say, Darius, you kind of one day looking like your mother. One day you go to family and they say you look just like your father. But because and it's interesting because both the mom and dad are very private. It tells me we come from very odd and unusual parents too, which is none of my business. And when I say it, not in a bad way, but in a way that 4s love to be different. That's their signature. If everybody does it one way, 4s go do it another way. It's almost like they can't help themselves. But in this case, you actually possess. So again, your mother's numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. Your dad's numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. So that means they may have married or somewhere around February, June, August, September, something of that nature. But the point is that you will, because see, in fact, when we talk about they both having a 5, the year you were born in 1985 adds up to 23, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So that's definitely the year they, got you on this planet. So I would say that you would kind of favor both, but yet you have your own individual distinction because where both your parents are 4s, you are a 1. So the number 1 rules the summer side of the sun, and the number 4 rules the winter side of the sun. So it's in that case that I would say that. So I would say every now and then you look more like them, you look more like her, look more like your dad, or whatever the case is. Or Darius, maybe you have your own. Because in the case of your mom, though, she is kind of bordering between Libra and Scorpio, which is water, and you are a water sign. So I would say in that grade, you might maybe water your mother too. Now, it's not that I'm trying to be a politician, trying to have it both ways, but I'm trying to look at, like, you'd have to give me some feedback. Like, no, man, I don't look like none of them. That could be true. All right. We all have our distinctions. Then I'm looking at who is this? I'm looking at okay, that's Darius. I'm looking at Chorus Hollis. Now, they said they're born on June the 3rd. So that makes him a Gemini 3 person. That means their numbers are the 3, the 6, and the 5. Okay. The mother's born on February the 20th. So her numbers are the 2, 7, and 3. So you have one of your mother's numbers. You didn't provide your dad's numbers. So I would say, since 3 belongs to the sign of Pisces, that would probably lean more towards your mother. And then I'm looking at a sun, a moon, Jupiter relationship, which is kind of like interesting. They, in the heavens, they kind of work well as planets. So I would say you might favor more of your mom. Okay. Then I've got a Mark Matthews. Okay. Mark Matthews chimed in. He said he was born on August the 12th. So he's a 5 sign with a 5 number, being a Leo 3 person. His mother's numbers, she's born on the 28th of February. So her numbers are the 1, 4, and 3. That gives me a clue right there. The father is born on August the 29th. His numbers are the 2, 7, and 5. So the only number I see that he would have between the two parents would be the mother. So therefore, he might look like his, no. In fact, he would be all of his mother, because don't forget, Mark, your numbers are the 3, 1, and 4. Your mother's numbers are the 1, 4, and 3. I'm sorry, you got all your mother's numbers now that I think about it, okay? Your father, 820, 829, 2, 7, and 5. So you have none of your father's numbers. It's not that it's just not your father. It's not about that. But I'm saying, if you go to a reunion or growing up, or you even say, you know what, like, I'm born on the 7th. Of my children, I have a daughter that's born on the 7th also. We look just alike. In fact, I've had her as a guest on my show twice, because she teaches yoga. She's written a book on, on diet and stuff like that. We look just alike. I mean, for me to say that ain't my daughter, boy, they'd be saying, Lloyd, come on. You know how you get a pair of socks that, look like, now some socks you got to kind of sort out, but those obvious socks, those color socks, or whatever the case is, that's no question. So this is how I saw these things too. And my son looks just like his mother. They got the same numbers. So this is how I began to observe these things. And so I can tell who favors who. And so in the case, Mark, I would say you have all your mother's numbers in a different arrangement. Okay. Except, I would say you would favor more your mother. Then I've got Hai Chi. I think they're born on May the 12th of 2000. All right. So that means you just had a birthday on Monday. So happy birthday. And so your key numbers are the 3, 6, and 9. Once I know that, and by the way, these numbers not only in your parents, but your children, or your mate, or the day you married, or the year you married. So there's all kind of ways of looking at it. But right now, I just thought I would do, like, who do you look like? Because that started with a young lady that said her numbers was a 369. Her son's numbers was a 639. So that gave me the idea about, like, who do you look like? Okay. So in this case, his mother's numbers is October the 10th. Her numbers are the 1, 4, and 9. His dad is born on January the 10th. His numbers are the 1, 4, and 8. So the only number he has would match his mother's numbers, because he's a 3, 6, 9. And I would say, for the most part, and by the way, he was conceived, which is none of my business, but he was conceived around August of 1999, which is the date of a one, because the mother's a one, the father's a one. And it tells me about your parents. You got very headstrong parents. They're both born on a 10. They both leadership numbers. They're both headstrong. They both don't take orders well. And yet they're very, very honest with each other too. So I'm sure when they have, and I've never met a couple that did not have some moment of disagreement where they on one day they just simply not on the same page. It's nothing personal. That's how it goes. As I explained, the sun don't come out every day. So when it's cloudy or rainy or overcast, how do you handle that situation? But I would say you have strong-willed parents. I would say you have enterprising parents too. I would say both your parents from the birthday you gave me about them would either be some way like managers, supervisors, directors. They may have thought about being professionals like lawyers or doctors or scientists or entrepreneurs or heads of businesses or whatever the case is like that. But and it's interesting. Your mother's born 1010, which is 1010, and your father's born in January. So both your parents was probably out on their own, separately or together, before they met each other between their 19th and 22nd birthday. If you talk to them, hey, mom, dad, when you get out on your own? Well, I left around about just before I was 22. Well, I left just before I was 18. I mean, just before I was 19, stuff like that. So I would say it's a slight margin, and you may have your own individual look. But I would say, if anything, it probably leans more toward the mother. Okay. Now, then there's Chucktown QT. They are born on August the 16th. So that makes them a Leo 7 person. Their key numbers are the 7, 2, 1, and 4. Okay. I teach this in my class, how to get the numbers. Also, the workshop that I'm offering, I do the same. But if you want to save a shortcut, just go to Amazon and order my book. Just go to LLoyd Strayhorn, Numbers in You. I have 4 books. I've written 6 books, but I have 4 of them available on Amazon, all in different colors to make life easier. The relationship book is in kind of rose, okay? The workbook is in green, but the main one, the Bible, is orange. That's the cheapest that's the most, I shouldn't say cheapest, the most inexpensive of the books that are on sale. So get that one, okay? And then when you companion it by investing less than $35 in my online course, which is, I will put it up here again, you will see that it will explain a lot of the things that that I'm talking about. But anyway, getting back to Chucktown. So their numbers are 723. Now, here's the thing. His mother is born on December the 11th. Her numbers are the 2, 7, and 3. So I'm seeing this. So Chucktown has a 7 and a 2. His mother has a 2 and a 7. So I see right there they got the numbers. Now, when I look at the father is born December the 8th. His numbers are the 8, 6, and 3. So I don't see any of the numbers in your dad. So I would say, therefore, you might more favor your mom, look more like your mom, or whatever the case is like that. But if anybody does do that, just let me know. I am very open. I don't know everything, but it's just a way of, who do you look like? I'm sure, especially when you go to family reunions, or reunions of any kind, whether it's a reunion or a funeral or a christening or a baby shower. These are the events where people kind of gather together. They haven't seen each other in quite some time. All right. So I've got quite a few people here. Let me do a couple of more. I have G. McGowan. They're born November 29th. Okay, their numbers are the 2, 7, and 3. So that way I know. All right. The mother is born on January the 19th. Her numbers are the 1, 4, 2, and 7. So right there, I see he's got 2 of his mother's numbers. Then his dad is born March the 6th. His numbers are, I hope I'm not confusing you, but I'm trying to, these are things I wrote down. They're not on the screen where you could kind of see and make an assessment. I'm going to go to the screen in a minute. The dad's numbers is March the 6th. His numbers are the 6, 3, and 9. So he's got the 1 and 4, excuse me. He's got the 2 and 7 from his mother. He's got the 3 from his father. So therefore, the 6 rather, 6 and 3. So therefore, I would think McGowan might look slightly more like the mom than the father. Okay, I think that's about it. Let me see. Don't want to miss out anybody. Angela Armstrong. Okay, uh, Angelia Armstrong, I should say, born on March the 14th. Okay, her mom. Now her numbers are the 5, the 3, and the 6 in that order. The mother's number, she's born on May the 6th. Her numbers are the 6, 3, and 9. So she's got right away 2 of her mother's numbers. The father, he's born on October the 27th. His numbers are the 9, 6, and 3. So actually, in both the cases, both the parents have a 6 and a 3 as a common denominator. And so therefore, I would look that and since he is a water sign and she's a water sign, she might slightly more favor more her father. Okay. Um, they both like to travel though. It's very, very interesting. And I would say with your mom and dad, they were born into what is called opposition signs, because the opposition sign to Taurus is Scorpio, your dad, and opposition sign to Scorpio is Taurus, your mom. So they may, and again, I have not met any couple, of known any couple that didn't have their moments where they just not on the same page. It's that's how it goes. Welcome to life, you know. So when they read these books, like, and they live happily ever after, that's fairy tales. That's in the movies that you go and see. Okay, but in the real world, it don't quite work like that. And so I would say that you would slightly favor more of your mom, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. And then I've got Stu, and Stu is born October the 23rd, which makes this person a Scorpio 5 person. Their numbers are the 5, the 9, and the 6. Your mother's numbers is April the 1st. Her numbers are the 1, 4, 9. So you got the 9 from your mother's side. And your father is born on October the 1st. His numbers are the 1, 4, 9. So here's another case where both the mother and the father have the same numbers. Both of them are number 1s. And this is a case where I'd love to be a fly on the wall when your mom and dad have some moments of disagreement. You know, it's the 1s. Let me tell you this. Always keep this in mind, folks. If you talk to a number 1 or number 9, they're not in the pity parties. You know how sometimes something happens and you want somebody to say, oh, you'll be all right and stuff like that. 1s and 9s don't play that. Lloyd, that was the dumbest thing you ever did. Okay. What was you thinking? All right. They're just blunt, but it's almost to the point that they appear to be mean. They're not mean. They're honest, because nowadays everybody want to sugarcoat. Well, you'll be all right. No, you a knucklehead, you know? So understand the nature of these numbers, and they have to be as true to themselves. But I would say your mother even more so is more direct, because she's a fire sign with a fire number. Your dad is a fire number he's an air sign with a fire number. So he has more of a balance. But when your mother's on it, she's on it. Okay. She don't play. And both your parents don't take orders. And both your parents probably had some positions where they had some authorities or some administrative title on their job. They are no pushovers. None of your mother and father. So I would imagine if that spilled over to you, you shouldn't be no pushover either. Plus, your birthday says you always know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, which is how you may have met your mate or got your job, found your own place, whatever the case is like that. The only number you have in common with both your mother and father is the number 9. Your numbers are the 5, the 9, and the 6. Okay. All righty. And I'm going to do Trisha just one more, and then I think that would be it. Okay. And she's born on April the 2nd. Her mother's born on April the 3rd. Okay. And that means her key numbers are the 2, 7, and 3. No, yes, 2, 7, and 6, rather, excuse me. Where your mother's numbers are the 3, 6, the 3, 9, and 6. So I see right there you have a 6 as a common denominator with your mom. Your dad is born August the 28th, so he's a 1, 4, 5. So again, I'm seeing more. You got at least one of your mother's numbers and none of your father's numbers. Now, here's the irony. You could look just like your father, but then everybody say when they see you act just like your mother. It happens that way too. These are all that I've been doing this for a long time. So because I've had the privilege of, I've been given the privilege, I should say, of people allow me to come into their lives in a numerical sense, that I begin to see patterns. And all we have to do is just to thine own self be true, as Shakespeare once said. Okay. You can't be nobody else. You just be yourself. So with that, I'm going to now go over to, I'm going to go over to the comment sections, and thank you very much. Oh, and one thing too, Quintella asked, what about offering a mini course on your app? I've been thinking about doing that. That's a good idea because it's being upgraded. There's going to be an AI component added to it later on up the road. There's going to be a lot of other little features. So maybe I should do that. That might do that. So anyway, thank you very much for these folks. I didn't get to see them. There were so many coming in. So let me kind of go to the top. Always melanated. She's always one of the first ones in line. And to my Wednesday moderator, Empress Rel, she is the best, the absolute best. And she always puts down the sponsors, Manifest on Purpose, Nicholas Brooklyn, Numeralytics, okay, and naturally U-Juice. I thank you very much, Empress, for doing that for me. And of course, she always puts on my website because I forget to put it up. If somebody don't remind me, and I got it, but thanks, Empress. Okay, so now let's see. Let's get to see if we can get some information here. Okay, this is one of my weekly persons. Okay. Yeah, Maureen said on this rainy day, she must be in the New York area. She don't have to be, but it's kind of been raining. It's going to be raining the rest of the week. Okay. All righty. There's Numeralytics. She is one of our sponsors. She's going to be back on our show too. And Sean West. There's going to be a couple of people that's been on the show. They all bring their unique numerical skill sets to the stage of life. And you'll get to see that too. And especially Numeralytics, she got a way of doing things that I said, huh? It makes me think, and I've been doing this for a while. Okay, and this is Terry. Okay, hi to family. Okay, all right. Thanks for all the nice messages. And for you ladies, I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day, who are mothers and then mothers to be. All right, now I'm looking for birthdays, and there are some, and here's the first one here, which is Anjul Jackson, this born on August the 13th. Now, that means you are a fire sign with an air number. And another way of saying it astronumerically is that you are Leo 4 person. That means your key numbers would be the 4, 1, and 5. Your best days would always be on a Sunday, a Monday, and a Wednesday. You would always do well in the months of February, followed by June, followed by August and September. And it tells me you just like to be different. And this particular year, you're in a 3-cycle year. How did I do it? You just take the month and day you're born, add it to the year in question, in this case, 2025. That factors out to a 3. Now, it tells me that numerically or astrologically or cosmically, you are going through a Jupiter cycle. And anytime you go to an astrologer, there's 2 planets they're looking for primarily. Where can your Jupiter be located in your chart? Because that is the planet of beneficent, as they call it. And then the other planet they look for is where's that Saturn? That's the number 8, because that's the maleficent, or whatever it is. That's these fancy words for good and not so good. So in this case, you happen to be in one of these prosperity cycles this year. So it means self-improvement, self-expansion, things of that way. In fact, for May, you are in a money week, a money month, okay? And a month where you give birth to ideas and concepts and things of that nature. And it just tells me you're just different. You just like to think outside the box, but your numbers, again, are the 4, the 1, and the 5. This is Galen. They are a Leo 4 person. Notice the difference of this person in August, who's a Leo 4, and this person a Leo for within the month of January. Don't forget, although let's say August is described to Leo, it starts late January late July into August. And in fact, on my TikTok, I forgot which ones, I explained that if you are July Leos are different than August Leos. December Capricorns are different than January Capricorns. January Aquarians are different than February Aquarians, and so on down the line. But we generally say, okay, August, that must be Leo. But they got to start around several days before you hit it, because as you get toward the end of August, you start going into the sign of Virgo, which is late August. So August Virgos are different than September Virgos. But the point is, y'all both got the same numbers. You just like you started off different, because the month you were born is called your formative cycle, how you started off. Okay, so in your case, it started off very reserved, very analytical, spiritual, questioning, going down the rabbit hole of why things are the way they are. And so I think that is kind of what you did, but your key numbers are the same as Angel, which is the 4, the 1, and the 5. In your case, where she's in the last Leo 4 person I just read, where she's in a 3 personal year, you happen to be in a master number 11 personal year, which is totally different. You're totally, totally different. So this year is about raising your consciousness, raising your awareness. If you're not aware and you're living it on the lower part, which is 1 + 1 is 2, that means you're in somewhat in a transitional state. Changes in relationships, changes in the home, changes in the workplace, things like that. Even changing your diet, who knows? But these would be some of the things that might be okay that way. Okay, now, and Jewel, now I see you gave your number 3 times. Now, I know you might get excited. I do too. I know that. But technically, if you don't mind, because I get so many and I don't read the rest until I get off the air because of time, that if you can only do it once, okay, that'll help. Because really, Empress is told that if you do it more than 2 or 3 times, then I have to kind of like say, don't. Oh, and by the way, let me say this too. For those of you who feel you would like to donate or whatever the case is, that's fine. Sometimes I'll catch it, sometimes I won't. And for those of you who are into your feelings about, well, I gave money and he did not read me, I'm saying if those are your kinds of mindsets, please do not donate anything until I've read you. After I got on and read you, then if you want to give something, fine. But I don't want it to be, well, I gave you something, you never call me, you owe me money. I don't. Listen, if I'm going to take advantage, it ain't going to be for a couple of bucks. Trust me on this, okay? I mean, I'm not going to do that to you. I would like to think my mindset is to think much bigger and broader than that, okay? Like, now, if you gave me $10,000, I'm going to read you, okay? And if I don't, I would wonder why you didn't. But these are the things, okay? Anyway, this is my Ty, who is a Libra 1 person. But see, they're not in October. They're in January. They're in September. So it tells me they start out old, but they end up young. And when I'm looking at the name too, it indicates very, very, very mature in this person's case. Always been an old soul, an old spirit, the way they do things. Just in the names, I'm seeing these 4s, I'm seeing 7s, which is more like kind of laid back and private. But this is the year for you because it's a great year. First of all, your numbers are the 1, 4, and 9. And this is great because this is the year of the 9. Next year is going to be even better because 2026 adds up to a 10, which is a 1, and you're born on the 28th, or 10 or 1. So those would be your numbers. It tells me probably you wear glasses because your left eye is a little bit weaker than your right eye. It also indicates that from your birthday, because see, each double number, once it gets past 9, 10 has its separate meaning, 11, 12, 13, 14, they all have their separate meaning. Well, 28 is called the divorce number. And see, people think it's always divorce going down the aisle. No, it's divorce that separates you from you and your money. And then normally 3 little challenges that cause that to happen. Number one, as I said, are always honest with people, but people born on the 28th, they don't always get that same honesty back. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what to say. Tell me about myself. Well, you're okay. And knowing deep down they think you're a knucklehead or something like that. So you got to be, so therefore, people born on the 28th, you got to always be careful who you put your trust in. Okay. The second little challenge is whenever you go to a person for advice, they should be the best person that you can find. Like me as a numerologist, this is all I've done. And I've done this for decades. So I consider myself one of the best, if not the best. So if you got advice from me, you know it's sound. But if you get an advice and you find out that the person's, day job is fixing TVs or bicycles all day, it might be good for your cousin, but not good for you. And the third challenge to people born on the 28th is this. You should never let people push documents under your nose and say, just sign right here. Because what happens is, in selling insurance, they used to have this phrase, the large words added, the small words take it away. The lawyers will tell you, what do you got to read? The fine print. So therefore, it's not that they 28s don't do well, okay? But they just have to be careful who they put their trust in, who they seek their advice from, and how they put their name on the dotted line, okay? I read a lady born on the 28th one day, and her husband put some stipulations. She couldn't even use her own name. I don't know how they did that. It was one of them kind of things, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. As long as you keep that in mind, you should do well. So this is your year to step out on faith. This year to do things in a very independent fashion. And next year, the year of the one, actually means that you will be in a situation to take yourself to a whole nother level. Okay, that was going around the barn with that. Okay. See, okay. All righty. And Jewel, this is the fourth time. You can't do that, dear. You can't do that. I know you're Leo, whatever, but the next time. And it's interesting that you wasn't blocked because that's the instructions. Okay. Strawberry says her mom is September the 14th. Her dad is September the 30th, and she's January the 7th. Okay. So the father is an air sign. She's an earth sign. The mother is an earth sign. Now, let me start with Strawberry first. Her numbers are the 7, 2, and 8. Those are her numbers. The mother's numbers are, being a Virgo 5, her numbers are the 5, 6, and 9. Her dad, his numbers are the 3, 6, and 9. So your mom and dad have a 6 and a 9 as in a common denominator. And so you don't have any of their numbers at all, which simply means it's not that they're not your parents. It just simply means you have your own individual look, your own individual swagger or personality aside from your mom and dad. That's all that means. But I tell you this is you're in a power cycle this year. You're in an eight personal year, which means this is a year for you to do some big moves, real estate, property, things of that nature. Okay. Now, this is Renee Shelton, and she had a birthday yesterday. So happy belated birthday, Renee. She is a Taurus 4-person, which means she's an earth sign with an air number, which means very practical and logical at the same time. And she happens to be in a 9 personal year also. The beautiful part about her birthday, whatever the universal year is, so is her personal year. So that means she's in lockstep with the universe, which means when there's some years that are stressful, like it was back in, let's say, 2022, I'd say that was a challenging year for you. The year that's going to be coming up for next year, 2026, which is year the one, you'll be in a 1 personal year. That's going to be a good year for you too. And it just tells you like to be different. Sometimes people think you contrary. You prefer to be your own best company, and to know you is to love you. Just that simple. Okay. So your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. So if you look at your mom and dad, they could have either been born somewhere around the months of February, June, July, August, or September, or born on a date such as the 1st, the 4th, the 5th, the 10th, the 13th, 14th, 19th, 22nd, 23rd, 28th, or 31st of the month. All righty. So Aisha Holloman says they're born December the 1st and looks like their mom now. Yeah, we change. We change. Don't forget. And don't forget, sometimes when we look at our elders, right? And we say, oh, they old. But if you look at their pictures when they that had that back in the day moment, them women was fine and them brothers was good looking, okay? Which is probably how you got here in the first place. But we don't think of it like that. And so this is why this is one of the few countries that don't respect the elders. In other countries, nations you go to, civilized as they call it, the older you get, the more you respect it. Not here. You pass certain age, well, mom, we need to take you to the nursing home, okay? Well, how your butt get here in the first place? So we don't think of that nature. But if you let your parents and these elders pull out those pictures when they were in their heyday, as they call it, fine with the women, good looking with the men. And so we change. That's a part of life, you know. I guess that's why youth and wisdom don't go together. And so as you get older, yes, the bumps in life, the curves, the challenges make us older. It is a process of anything. It's like you can tell a very young dog from a very dog that is aging. Okay, it's life, I guess, and no one can change it. So if you look like your mom now, it might be considered a compliment, but I'm willing to bet you got to understand we fail to see, we look at where we are now, but for those that knock them, you need to see what your parents look like in their days, which is, again, how you got here. Because one was attracted to the other, they got busy, and you are the end product of that results, okay? So just keep that in mind. But anyway, your numbers tell me, Aisha, you don't take stuff from nobody. You would have made an excellent lawyer, doctor, or scientist. You're very direct and honest. And when I say that, and again, there's this honesty about being mean. No, you're just straightforward. And sometimes people just need to hear the truth. They may not want to hear it, but they need to hear it, okay? And that's what you do. And then you got this 5 sign with a 5 number, and your name says you don't look your age anyway. You said you were born in 53. You could almost say you were born in 1968, close to 70. And very few people will fight you. And I bet you that you've attracted Aisha Holloman younger men, which is also none of my business either. But if you have, there's nothing to feel guilty about, all right? Because this country still has two-sided thing with women. For example, the United States was formed in 1776. Well, women wasn't allowed. We ain't even talking about sisters. Women wasn't allowed to vote until 1920. That's a whole, I'm telling you, that's a long time for women to even get respect to vote. But anyway, that just gives you an idea. But your numbers are the 1, 4, and 3. Your best days are always on a Sunday and a Thursday, and on a minor way Tuesday too. This is Georgia Darkins, May 23rd. This is a very good birthday. Well, all the birthdays are here. It's just what you do with your birthday. You would be an air sign with an air number, so that means you're always in your head. I would say whoever is dealing with you, Georgia, the secret to holding on to you is to let you go. Not be clocking you all the time about where you going, why you going there, when you coming back, how long you're going to be. At first, it's cute when you're dating. But on a regular basis, and you got to wake up to that every morning, that would drive you like bonkers, okay? So it tells me as a result, your numbers are the 5, the 6, and the 9. And your best day is always on a Wednesday first, like today, followed by Friday, followed like Tuesday, which is yesterday. All righty. And it indicates that this particular year for you, you're in a 1 personal year, which means this is a self-starter year to do things in your favor, to do things in your best interest. Okay. This is the dove flies. They're born on February the 16th. So they're air sign with a water number. And that means they're very specific about the things they're doing. And they happen to be in a 9 universal year. So this is a year to either fulfill some of your dreams, or this is a year to begin to bring closure to a matter that you've outgrown, whether it's a toxic relationship, negative habits, anything that is no longer to your advantage. It is best for you to put it to the side. It does indicate travel opportunities this month. And then you're going into your financial month for the month of June, also making some adjustments, maybe going back to school, taking a course, whatever the case is. And it tells me you like to be your own best company too. And you have 4 numbers where the about 90% of the people only have 3. Your key numbers are the 7, 2, 4, and 1. Okay. Yes. And as Empress says, please only list your information one time. Okay. All righty. Okay. And see, and Jewel, you give another birthdays too. I can't do that. This is, you see, she gave me a birthday, her birthday. Now, obviously, this is another birthday coming from somebody else. What I'm saying is this. What I'm going to do starting on June the 1st, it's a Sunday. I'm having what is called in my power series an open session. The open session means that's when you come in and I can answer all the questions about you and your relative, your mom, dad, children, and stuff like that. There's going to be a small nominal fee. Okay. It's not going to break the bank. Don't worry about that. And this way I can answer the questions and Jewel gave her birthday about 3 or 4 times. Now she's given 1 or 2 other birthdays, not to call you out, but I'm just trying to let you know that these are the things I just can't answer everybody's like that. And if everybody gave all the birthdays of their relatives, mom, dad, children, boyfriend, girlfriend, stuff like that, I'd just be on one person. And that would be kind of, shall we say, selfish. So what I'm saying is this is why I'm going to have an open session. I'm going to create a flyer. You'll see it'll be a power series open session where you can all join me. And in this way, you can throw all the questions at me. I don't have a time within an hour to do this. I got to respect people's times, also my moderator's time. And then this way I can do that. So you'll be seeing a flyer where you can actually log on and come into the room. And then this way, as I'm talking to other people, and I think it's going to be on a Zoom too, so we can see each other face to face too. You can take some notes. And then hopefully one person's question will be answered that will fill your question and vice versa. All right. So thanks, Ms. Jackson, but I can only do one at a time, and I can't do other people's birthdays too. Okay. Although I would like to. Okay. January the 12th. So this is an interesting birthday because this is Howard Stern, the famous multi-million radio personality from Sirius XM, Jeff Bezos, of course, of Amazon. That's a behemoth in the business world. And it's not that you may not have their money or their influence, but you have the ability to do very well yourself. Now, as your case, you happen to be in a 4 personal year. So 4 represents boundaries, so to speak. That's a very popular word I hear nowadays. Everybody's got some boundaries, kind of limitations, restrictions, some parameters, call it what you will. But so what happens is, what it simply means is stay within your lane this particular year. Follow the blueprint, follow the roadmap, follow a direction in which you're going to go. This is not the year to wander off course. When you're on course, just stay steady. And that way you'll get to your destination. In fact, that's why they said in geometry, a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points. Okay. And if you can do that, you will do very well. But you do like to be different. You're young and old at the same time. You need to learn a second language. And 3, 8, and 6 are always your best numbers. And Thursdays and Fridays and Saturdays are your best days. Okay. See. Okay. Okay. See, I see another one with, okay. Miss Jackson, you are very fortunate that my moderator hasn't blocked you. Okay. I'm very serious with this. This is really, okay. It's not going to happen. Anyway, let's see. Okay. This is Connect Mobile. January 25th, 65. I really like coming straight and read. This will be my 4th time placing my information. No reading yet. Okay, good. See? And notice, he did not. Okay. Anyway, you are an Aquarius 7 person, which means you're an air sign with a water number. And what it simply means, on one hand, very intellectual, and they're very intuitive, spiritual, and analytical. People born on a 7 under any month always like to be their own best company. They always have what is called a strongly marked individuality. And in other words, it's like you either think for yourself or somebody do your thinking for you. 7s tend to worry a lot. And it also indicates that you this year, because of your birthday configuration, happen to be in a money-making cycle. That's what it is this year. And so it means either making a lot of money, having access to a lot of money. To the negative, it might be expenditure of a lot of money, like purchasing a home, moving into a home, moving out of a home. It means making some adjustments. But because you happen to be in the 8th personal year and looking at the year you're born, this is a good time to make sure you have adequate insurance or retirement situations, or a will or something of that nature to avoid probate, such as establishing a living trust or something of that nature. But this is going to be a year of maturity. This will be okay. And this is your 4th time. That's interesting because your key numbers are the 7, 2, 4, and 1. You're one of those rare persons that have 4 numbers where about 95% of the people only have 3. And so as a result, this is kind of going to be a year for you. And you're going to be doing a lot of growing up. Of course, you're a mature adult. That's obvious from the year you're born. But I'm talking about growing up in the sense of being more philosophical, having more understanding. Again, that's why they say youth and wisdom don't go together. The things we do now is totally different than when we were youngsters and whatnot. But those are your numbers. And it tells me you're a perfectionist. And whatever you do it very well. I can tell you that. Very rarely do people say, man, are you sure? Okay, so if it's connect videos, I would say is if you're dealing with videos, you're probably very good at your occupation. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing. Okay, now this is interesting. Galen says they are July 31st. Their mom is on the 15th. Their father is on the 29th. Okay, here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at, if you notice, all the 3 of them, him or Galen, rather, the mom and dad, all born in the month of July. There's a difference. Where you, Galen, you happen to be a fire sign with an air number. Your mother happens to be a water sign with an earth number. And your father happens to be a fire sign with a water number, which is very, very interesting. So therefore, your key numbers are the 4, 1, and 5. Your mother's numbers are the 6, 2, and 3. So I don't hear any of your mother's numbers. And your dad's numbers are the 2, 7, 4, 1, and 4. So I would say you have more leanings toward more your father's looks or disposition or mannerisms. Your father would have done well in electronics, cooked better than the mom, okay, things of that nature. But those are your numbers. You happen to have 4 numbers. You happen to have 3 numbers, which is a 4, 1, and 5, and your dad happens to have 4 numbers, which is a 2, 7, 1, and 4. So therefore, he has 2 of your numbers. You have none of your mother's numbers. And in fact, I would say normally 4s and 6s clash. Now, I know that's your mom, but sometimes if you all have some disagreements, that would make sense. But what parent, what teenager or youngster didn't think they knew everything? You know what I'm saying? I did. My mother told me I would get my turn. Now that I got my turn, it's like I just didn't get what the woman was trying to tell me. So this is all I'm saying to you. Your mothers like to be different in that way too. All right. So let me do this. Okay. All righty. Let me see. Okay. My birthday twin. Okay, that's interesting. The birthday twin is also born on January the 31st. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this is Quintanella. She says, oh, wow, you have that spot on. Growing up, I always told I looked like my father. The older I got, started to look like my mom. In present time, I'm told there's a mixture of both. Sometimes we'll have that. And in the case of Quintanella's, as I said, she was born on the 31st. Her father was born on the 13th. So yes, she's actually got all of her mother and father, because all of them have a 4, 1, or 1, 4 in their birthdays. The fathers, though, she's a 4, 1, he's a 4, 1. The mother is a 3, 4, and 1. So since the 4 and 1 are very strong, yes, I expect her to look more like the father first. And then, definitely some of her mother. But that's a good, thank you very much for the confirmation on that one. Okay. Nicholas Knoll, 10, 10, 82, 10, 20. Okay. So this year is a year where it is about you establishing some kind of partnership relationships. Normally, the cycle that you're in this year says there is a transition underway. But the beautiful part about it is in October, right after, just before, now right after your birthday, things began to open up just like it did in the fall of 2016, definitely going into 2017. By that time, you were on your own, except now you're going to take it to another level. You're going to take it where your reputation and career and expansion is concerned. Okay. So your numbers are the 1, 4, and 9, which are leadership numbers, which means you just don't take orders well. And Sister Maya, thank you very much. She's one of my favorite ladies. She's always there. Okay. This person, I'm spilling over just a minute. Seductive 48, 46, 48. What can you expect for the remainder of 2025 being January, May the 1st? Okay. What you can expect is this. You happen to be in a 6 personal year, which favors the sign of Taurus. 6 normally rules love, marriage, separation, divorce, births, pregnancies, moving into a home, moving out of a home, going back to school, getting involved in some weight loss and exercise program. The one thing I've noticed about 6s, though, especially women going through that phase, more than likely your hair does not look like it was at the beginning of the year. More than likely, you either restyled it, cut it, grew it, what they call rinse nowadays. Y'all don't call it dye, y'all rinse it nowadays, or whatever the case is. But more than likely this is a good time for you for home and family and adjustments and things like that too. Blue is the favorite color, but you're a headstrong Taurus, so sometimes people might feel a little intimidated about you, but it's not that you want to be intimidated. You're just very strong. You have the same birthday configuration as Minister Malcolm X. He was just very direct. Okay, that's how he was. He's a number 1. Ones don't change their stripes as a rule. They're normally known to be very direct and to the point. That's why always winners always come in number 1. All right. So therefore, with number 1 being a fixed number and you being a fixed sign, that means that you may have had some challenges in relationships in the past too. But your key numbers are the 1, 4, and 9, and your best days are always on a Sunday, followed by a Tuesday. Okay. And I just want to make sure that I didn't. Okay, I got to get off. I just want to make sure anybody that made a donation, so I don't feel that they slandered or anything like that. And what happens is some of the people that I didn't get to, I'll write it down and do this. But I do want to thank you very, very much. I'm going to have an astrologer and a woman that wrote a book. Actually, she wrote 3 books that you'll see. And I do want to thank all of you very, very much. And by the way, again, on June the 1st, I'm going to have an open session. Actually, there's a Cynthia that kind of brought that up. And it gives me a time where we're all into this room and I'm not restricted by the time. And then this way I can answer all the questions. It will be eyeball to eyeball. And it's a whole difference, me looking at a comment and versus actually having this eye-to-eye, face-to-face contact. Is a big difference. So you're going to see a flyer soon, and there'll be a link where you can sign on and join us in the room on that Sunday, the very first day of June. Okay. But in the meantime, I want to thank all of you very much. Do have a very safe weekend and a very careful one. And let me see. By the way, before I sign off, let me tell you this, that the sponsors has been UJuice. Uchenna Hackett, he's working on a book, a great human being. In fact, I must give this man credit for not only UJuice, he was the one that inspired me to sign on and do an online course on Udemy. He was the one that also for a couple of years told me, why don't I have an app that wound up being a star 8. So to this man, I'm very, very indebted for his persistence about, Lloyd, you can do this. And Uchenna, thank you very much. But he's got his own juice. And despite pushing me, he's pushing his own business and he's coming up with a couple other things. So go to Livet Store, LIVETSTORE.com. That's LIVETSTORE.com, Livet Store. Also, Nicholas Brooklyn, I could not upload the flyer that was sent to me about the ice plunge they're going to be having this Sunday at 11 a.m. I think it's going to be from 11 to 3 a.m. I'm going to be there, but I ain't get up in no cold water. So if you think I'm going to do it, you're going to get your feelings hurt. That's not me. But for those of you who want to take a plunge in the ice cold water. I'm sure there's something therapeutic about it other than you being chilly. Please do. It's at 1396 Fulton Street. It's going to be all day. I will be there doing readings, signing my books, and it'll give me a chance to see a lot of people I haven't. And when I go in this store, this is the store I go into. As soon as I go in there, I start buying stuff and put it on the counter, and then pay for all of it when I leave. It's one of them kind of stores, and you need to be there for that. But it's going to be the ice plunge, and for some reason I couldn't upload the flyer. But anyway, also Manifest on Purpose with Miss Kimberly, and she does her weekly wisdom and everything like that. She's been doing this for a couple of years, but she's also added a service, which is for, so many people have been laid off since the beginning of this year with the new administration. Oftentimes, this is when people go into their own business. When they can't find work, they begin to be creative. So if you want an idea of how to look at it metaphysically, getting your business off the ground, do reach out to Kimberly.com. That's KIMBALEY.com. She has a consultation, and the consultation costs you nothing. It's just to kind of give you some direction. I got this idea about this, and she'll line it up according to your stars and your numbers. Okay. The consultation is absolutely nothing. It's zero. All you got to do is just contact Kimberly, KIMBALEY.com, and schedule it. And one of my favorites also is Numerologics with Queen Bee of Taylor B TV, who is very conscientious. Leo, one of my favorite signs, by the way. All the signs are favorites, but with that. And so please go and subscribe. Numbers matter. They do. They can't do anything without numbers. And she has a whole style of how she does things. And so I think you'll find it interesting. And lastly, Knocking from the Inside with Jazz Aphrodite. Her book, this was her first book. The nice thing about it is now available on audio. I've got the hardcover and softcover edition. And the way the book feels, you can tell she put a lot of love as well as stuff. And the nice thing I like about this book, she actually documented it using the numerical cycle she was going in from 1 to 9. So it makes for an interesting read. For those of you, my newsletter is absolutely free. You can either go to Linktree/numbers and you. Thanks to Simon that got me onto that. It's linktr.ee/numbers and you. Everything is all spelled out. Okay. And also, for those of you who don't want to read the monthly forecast, you can hear it. And that is Miss Kimberly on the left, myself on the right. And you can actually hear it. And the way I write and the way I speak about these are totally different. So when you go to the newsletter, at each of the signs, you will see a link that you can click on to hear the version of your sign. All right. And one more thing, too, I got to let you know that, let's see. Okay, this is it. Okay, there we go. My classes will be on sale for the next couple of days. Now, if you look at the prices, you look at the original prices, you get all, and you own these courses, by the way. You own all 3 of these courses for less than $35. And so since this is now the age of inflation, people are trying to cut corners, this is the best way to learn basic numerology at a very affordable price. I suggest that you get all 3. You can only get one, but for the kind of money, because it's not going to be on sale this long. And this is the only time, if you notice, folks, where credit is due. I've been on about, I think July will make 3 years. I've had Live with Lloyd or Numbers and You, Live with Lloyd. The only time I've advertised my courses when they're on sale. So obviously it's not about the money. And believe me, I could use the money to do the things I need to do. But it's not about that. I'd rather you get the knowledge. So there's no excuse. In fact, this is cheaper than a breakfast for 2. Because breakfast is getting expensive from what I've heard. $30, $40. I'm saying, like, what? What's a coffee like now? But the point is, get all courses. My first one was Learn from Lloyd, How to Read a Person Like a Book. That's still a bestseller that I put out 3 years ago. Then the next one is Learn from Lloyd, The Next Step in Numerology. And then also the one that Jazz Aphrodite and I collaborated on, which Learn from Lloyd, the do's and don'ts of numerology. Get all three, own all three, and take your time going through them. It's a thing where you can go at your own leisure. Okay, you ain't got to sit there and do everything. The total of all three is about 6 hours of learning time, but it's well worth it. So I'm saying take advantage of the sale. I think it is through this week. Yes, if so, please take advantage of the sale and do that. All right, everybody. Other than that, I do want to thank you very much. Do have a very safe weekend, and all of you take good care. And I will talk to you on Monday.